Welcome to the Roll Call Show. I am Joe McGuire along with JJ Vargas and the Sarah Kay. Right off the top, obviously, we're living in a different world at this point. So we appreciate you tuning in as we talk a little bit about where the Yankees are at and some of the latest news and goings on with the New York Yankees. There's certainly been quite a bit of news. Obviously, for starters, Hank Steinbrenner passed away last Tuesday at his Clearwater residence. He'd been sick for quite some time, apparently. Not COVID-19 related, by the way, just to put everyone's mind at ease. But when George Steinbrenner's health began to fail late in the 2000s, Hank became the baby boss, kind of took on a more active role with the franchise, and really was kind of seen very much like his father. George passed away in July of 2010. Hal's been running the show pretty much over the last couple of years. That apparently was due in part to this illness that Hank was dealing with. So, thoughts and prayers, obviously, with the Steinbrenner and the entire Yankee family. I know people took that really hard. A great guy and really the architect to the last championship that the New York Yankees had back in 2009. Sort of took the reins and worked very well with Brian Cashman to put together a championship team. Obviously, they, by the time of the rebuild, Hal was firmly entrenched as the majority, or at least the face of the franchise, took them through the rebuild. And obviously, we are where we are now. I was thinking about this earlier today. This is so stupid, but I remember being a kid and knowing Jennifer Steinbrenner, who I believe was about 35 at the time. I was maybe 12. I thought, I want to marry that person. I want to be, because I would love to be a Steinbrenner. And she ended up marrying Steve Swindell, who spent some time helping to run that organization. And I mean, it's a stupid thought, but the Steinbrenners have obviously been a big part of our lives as Yankee fans. I think when it comes to owners, the Steinbrenners are just one of those families, the Giants too with the Maras, sort of that long tradition and people you feel like, and personalities. You guys, you know what I mean? It's so it's sad. And who knows, before the illness, I mean, what that might have meant for Hank and what that might have meant for the Yankees, because he was a little more of a spender than Hal is. And I know, JJ, a lot of people think Hal's a cheapskate.
Yeah, I had similar thoughts growing up, but instead of a Steinbrenner, I wanted to marry Jessica Alba. That's what I thought. But, on the day that it was pronounced that he was passed away, the name Steinbrenner kind of echoes throughout sports. It's just one of those names that throughout, every category, where it's baseball, basketball, everybody just knows the name, knows it belongs to the Yankees. And it was definitely sad, for the Yankee family. I think that as an organization, it definitely just reminds you that every day could be your last day, and whether that's personal relationships or business relationships, you should just always treasure them.
Yeah, especially in this time that we're in right now.
Yes, so sad. Obviously, now the big question is, will they play in 2020? There is a lot of deliberation. Just to give you some perspective, Yankee Stadium currently holds 49,647 seats. 50,000 people have died of coronavirus. So imagine if you took and filled Yankee Stadium. That's pretty much what you're looking at. The Major League Baseball.
Anybody that's been in that park knows that it gets really filled in there. And just to put it in contrast like that really puts in perspective, like, wow, a lot of people have passed away due to this terrible virus that's going around.
Right? I mean, really, it's a number until you think about filling a stadium with it, and you're like, oh my goodness, imagine if every one of these people has died. But the league and the players union have discussed a plan that might bring baseball back. They were looking to do it in May. I think July is a more realistic option, if at all. And I will say this, I don't think you'll see fans in the seats.
Yeah.
And I don't know why anybody would want to put themselves at risk. I mean, the coverage on these games is spectacular. If you've got the MLB network, you're right. You're not going to miss any of the games. I'm curious your guys' thoughts. I guess the question is, Sarah, do you want to see them play, or do you believe that they'll play?
I kind of think they will play, but I think I'm with you in that July is probably a little bit more realistic. But if they do decide to play, I'm right there with you. I don't think there's going to be any fans in the seats. I mean, we've seen that with a lot of sports, not even just baseball, competitions. There's no spectators. So I think if they do decide to play, and I do hope they do, unfortunately, it's only going to be maybe a couple months worth of baseball. I think it's going to end up being this year, no fans allowed, and then, obviously reevaluate next year.
Yeah, I could see it as well as, and it could start, as soon as July. And maybe there's could be conversations about a shortened season. I mean, I wouldn't be upset seeing baseball during NFL and basketball season too, but that's just me being greedy as a sports fan, But the whole thing without
that would be interesting.
Fans, yeah, the whole thing without the fans, I'm a big believer, and I love home field advantage. Like, I love whenever a team has the home field. Whether it's my favorite team or not, I just like the aspect of a stadium noise. Like, there's nothing in baseball that really gets me flowing. Like, 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and you just hear that crowd just get louder and louder, and it really does feed into the experience of a game. And I just feel like, about the fans in the standings, I understand it. I want to see the sport, but I really feel if you don't have any fans spectating, it does take away some of that magic, that pizzazz, the sprinkles on top, if you want to call it, of what sports offer.
While it seems most of the owners, and it seems at least the players' union, is open to playing without fans in attendance, Hal Steinbrenner's been very much opposed to it. Mm-hmm. And I think it's due in part. I mean, look, the Yankees generally lead the league in attendance. They generally clear 4 million. That's a lot of money in ticket sales. You can imagine what they do in concessions and merchandise right there at the stadium. I mean, they are making a lot of money at these ball games, a lot more than, say, Tampa or, some of these smaller market teams where, ticket prices are a little bit cheaper. Maybe the stadiums are a little bit smaller. Attendance, is in the 1.8 to 2.5 million range. It makes a big difference. Hal doesn't want to play and lose money when, apparently the plan is to play these games in Florida and Arizona. So you're playing on neutral sites. I don't like the idea. Look, as much as it pains me, I think back to the 94 season when they stabbed me in the heart with that strike in 94. Season got canceled. The Yankees, who had been awful for so long, were at first place. It was maybe the best season of Montreal Expos history. Then they ended up going kaput because of that. What a difference that would have made. But, I think about that. I think about this 95 season got off to a late start. I don't have good memories about that. Again, I was kind of young when it happened, but they had the strike in 1981. They did like a split season. It was stupid. The Yankees ended up in a playoff, and they got knocked out of the playoffs.
Strike doesn't sound too bad compared to a virus.
True that.
The whole world,
but still, so. I mean, look again. To me, I love baseball. It's my favorite thing in the whole wide world. I'm actually in a rotisserie computerized simulation league. I am. I mean, it's ridiculous. Mike
Have you
Messina,
watched the sim games, like the simulated games for the Yankees? I wouldn't.
Oh yeah,
I'd be lying if I said I haven't.
It's hard not to. I mean, I have I watched an entire game? No, but will I sit through a few innings of that? I will. Yeah.
Yeah. Better than nothing.
Totally.
I did go out of my way, and I went to go buy MLB The Show because I needed to fill that craving for my baseball. So even if it's on PlayStation or video game, I needed that fix in my life as well.
I think that game got
we're all coping the best we can.
Boost in sales.
Yeah, I mean,
big time.
It's a very sad thing to not have baseball in our lives. But again, to bring it back and to use, I don't know, the word bastardized, like a weird spring training exhibition like they're playing in it. I mean, I don't know. I don't like it. I just don't like that idea. I don't know. I don't feel good about it. It doesn't seem right to me.
Well, guys, this, as unfortunate as this COVID-19 has been to the world and has put everything in delay, it's kind of been a blessing in disguise for some of our injured guys that were threatened to miss some time in the season. And now, we got guys like Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, possibly James Paxton that might actually be able to make it for the season opener, considering whenever that will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't jump the gun too much there, JJ, because, we certainly have a ton of great info. As you mentioned, these guys very well could be coming back. Aaron Judge had the stress fracture in his right first rib. He is down right now.
Or something.
Yeah, and a collapsed lung. But now, he is down in Tampa. He's rehabbing. Aaron Boone, in an interview with the Yes Network, said he's down in Tampa. We're using this time. He's using his time to continue to heal. I don't really have much more for you other than that. Obviously, it's been a very productive having the chance to allow that rib to heal. This is happening, but for where he's at exactly, we don't have anything for you on that yet. Again, if the season's another month or two off, you have to figure, if he loses any time, it won't be much. Now, Giancarlo Stanton's grade 1 calf strain was expected to have him possibly miss opening day. Maybe he would have been ready. We weren't sure, but according to Aaron Boone, he's cleared to play. He says Giancarlo's doing well, still down in Tampa, going through rehab, doing really well. He should, when we get ready to go, he should certainly be back and a part of things. And then James Paxton had the surgery on an cyst on his back, had a time frame of, he said May, Mo said early June before he'd get back. He says mid-May was his way. But he has been throwing bullpen sessions on his own after his last one. Boone said he's looking pretty good. Said he did great. Feeling ready to go about the decision to go ahead with the surgery, and every step of it has gone pretty smoothly for him. I think he threw well. It's his 5th bullpen. He continues to report it's going really well. So, as you said, really great news. Aaron Hicks continues his rehab. You hate to say it almost, but goodness, coronavirus has been a blessing in disguise for the New York Yankees from an injury standpoint. You can almost, if the whole season got washed out, you won't even miss Severino for that long.
That's
who would be back by June of next year. So, just some thoughts. Not the end of the world, but certainly all great news when it comes to these guys being hurt. And Sarah, as you mentioned, the collapsed lung on Aaron Judge. Great to see him back in action and rehabbing and feeling great because we need that guy.
Yeah, absolutely. But definitely crazy.
So here's the thing. I want to ask you guys something, and I'm glad we got to Aaron Judge, and we know he's healthy, and we know, obviously, he missed a lot of games last year. Who is the Yankees' best hitter? Is it Aaron Judge, or is it DJ LeMahieu? Now, you could make the argument for either guy. I think most people felt like DJ LeMahieu was like literally an MVP candidate last year. I think we campaigned pretty hard for him. But let's take a look at the numbers.
Sure did.
Okay. DJ LeMahieu last year in 145 games had a 136 WRC's weighted runs created. Okay. Anything over 100 is really good. 150 is like star. 375 on base, 893 OPS, 26 home runs. Again, you're talking a guy who, at that point in the season, we were talking about a possible MVP candidate. Surprised that he didn't do better in the final balloting. But is he really the Yankees' best hitter? Because in 2019, Aaron Judge, over 102 games, had a 141 WRC, a 381 on base percentage, a 921 OPS with 27 home runs. Now, again, I understand he missed a lot more time, but when Aaron Judge is in the lineup, he is a more productive player than DJ LeMahieu or anybody else.
Yeah,
Sarah, I'm gonna let Sarah go first because I know LeMahieu is her guy.
Yeah, well, it's funny because Judge was always my guy too. So I'm a big fan of both of them. I think when you say best hitter, especially looking at the numbers, obviously Aaron Judge is your best hitter. I think that DJ LeMahieu is more of a clutch hitter, like in a pinch situation. If you need to get a guy on base, you need to maybe get a guy home. I think you got to go with DJ LeMahieu, but I think as far as production and numbers, it's hands down Aaron Judge. You can't deny that.
Solid points. JJ, your thoughts?
Yeah, I seem to be on the same side of Sarah to a certain degree. I think that overall DJ LeMahieu is probably the most balanced hitter. I feel like he probably has more control where he wants the ball to land, in certain scenarios. I think he might have a little more composure, in those runner and scorer precision moments because, I feel he's more experienced and he's kind of just been there, done that a little longer than Judge has. But the numbers are there, man. You're talking about he played in 40 less games and he still has one more home run than DJ LeMahieu. And we're talking about this is the lowest number of home runs that Aaron has hit in his career. Meanwhile, DJ LeMahieu is his career high. And I love DJ. That's my guy. I advocate for him to be in the lineup, starting out because I think he really does deserve that spot. But let's be serious. DJ LeMahieu does not strike a nerve on pitchers' nerves the way that Aaron Judge does. When Aaron Judge is on the plate and you see this freaking behemoth at 6'7", just waiting to swing his big-ass mallet and hit home runs, no matter what park he's in, it's Aaron Judge, and it's not by a huge gap, but he definitely is the best premier batter that we do have in this team.
Yeah, I mean, I think you make a really good point. DJ LeMahieu basically had what you would call a career year last year, and Aaron Judge basically matched those numbers in missing 60 games. That's remarkable when you think about what that guy can do. Well, we've seen what he can do over a full season. It's a matter of can we get the big man through a full season healthy and. Because when he is, I don't know that there's not a more productive guy in the Yankees lineup. And there might not be a more productive guy in all of baseball. I think if you look at those numbers compared to somebody like Mike Trout or Mookie Betts, I think you're talking about one of the top three guys in all of baseball. So it's imperative that this guy stays healthy. I
would say that the Yankees are blessed to say that we have both Aaron Judge and DJ LeMahieu in the lineup. And, and I think this could also be an argument for Gleyber Torres being in the conversation for the best Yankees hitter. But I think he also needs a little more grooming before he could be considered one of the better hitters in our team, considering these other guys have resumes built for the most part.
I don't know, man. That kid has one more year like he's had the first two. You're going to – this is going to be whenever they get back to playing and we get to see Gleyber again, if Gleyber continues to play the way he's been playing the first two seasons of his career, I'm pretty much I'm convinced. I don't see this guy – having any sort of downturn. As long as he stays healthy, Gleyber Torres is going to be a superstar for an extremely long time. And as long as the Yankees want to keep, also, you guys have seen Gary Sanchez looks dynamite, slimmed down. He's got a whole new catching style.
Speak of dynamite, the guy that has the dynamite award of the offseason so far is Aroldis Chapman. Have you seen his latest pictures of how big he looks?
Aroldis Chapman could probably. I know the MMA is still kicking at some point. He looks like he can go in there and take out anybody.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he looks sick.
Aroldis Chapman looks like he could bully Debo. For those who understand that from the movie Friday, he looks like he would bully Debo. That's how big he looks.
Oh, he is absolutely jacked. Also, I don't know if you guys saw the video of Garrett Cole and his wife having a catch. I mean, my God, how good is she throwing?
Well, wasn't she a collegiate softball player at UCLA? Yeah. So, I mean, what a perfect partner to have a catch with.
I mean,
maybe we should invite them on the show sometime, considering that now they have a house in Greenwich. So we can just be like, hey, neighbor, how would you like to be on the show sometime?
Howdy, neighbor. I mean, I could imagine, I fancy myself a pitcher in the wiffle ball league that we're in. And to be able to talk pitching with the love of my life would be incredible. When I start talking to my wife about pitching, she just tunes me out. I'm just saying that would mean a lot to me if we could have some romantic talk about curveballs and sliders, change-ups. But
only
anyway.
curveballs that you get are the ones that she's curving off of you. Yeah.
All right. We didn't get a whole lot of spring training in, but we certainly got to see some of these guys. Garrett Cole pitched to a 7 ERA. Wasn't great. Pitched in a game where he gave up quite a few home runs on a wind blowing out kind of day. Jordan Montgomery was pretty awful as well. A 7.40 ERA over 4 games. But tell you what, though, Masahiro Tanaka was 1-0 with a 2.08 ERA. But J Happ in 14 innings, 2-0 with a 1.38 ERA. I think whenever we get back here, I do think that the Yankees rotation, especially if Paxton will be back or back right around the time that they get back rolling again. I mean, I think you have to feel good about the way J Happ's looked so far. He's going to be a 3 guy this year, and he's going to have to pitch as well as he did when he first got here 2 seasons ago at the deadline. I like what I've seen with a lot of these guys. Happ had great numbers. Sanchez looks amazing. Now we know a lot of these guys are healing. I think this Yankee team, from a pitching standpoint, and again, when you look at Chapman, he's not going to get taken by Altuve again. That's for sure, JJ. Ain't happening.
No way.
It's funny when you mention Happ that, prior to the season beginning, we're thinking about, are we going to trade J Happ? What are we going to do with him? Is he going to make the cut? And then when Severino went down, his necessity in our team definitely elevated. And as you mentioned, he did go 2-0, and it's fantastic for us that, he's been able to accept the role he has on this team without letting any kind of ego get in the way, knowing that, best case scenario, he might be the 4 guy. He might right now he's gonna be the 3 guy. But you're talking about a guy that was a starter prior to coming to our team and got here and had quick success, and was one of those guys in the rotation. And for, like I said, prior to the season, for him to be in limbo, not sure where he was gonna fit, knowing that he could just slide in times of need, it's great for Happ. Like I said, we were blessed to have Judge and LeMahieu. We're kind of blessed to have a veteran like Happ, that's very egoless, willing just to play the game and be there for us whenever we need him.
So how about J Happ? Hearing trade rumors, thinking this team's going to move on from him to save that money after they sign Garrett Cole. Next thing you know, he's the number 3 guy in the rotation, and it shows up to camp. Sevy's out. It's like you come off a rough season. And you guys know I'm a big J Happ fan. I think he's outstanding. I think he got victimized by those juice balls last year. I think it was a good indication of the guy who the Yankees traded for in the first place, and the guy you'll probably see once baseball gets back to going. But I thought to myself, this guy was under immense pressure to come to spring training and to give the Yankees a reason not to trade him, and he couldn't have done any better.
Yeah, 100%.
That speaks volumes.
Yeah. And I'm right there with you. I'm a big J Happ fan. I've always, thought he was great. I thought last season, like you said, was a little unfortunate, and it probably had to do with the balls, because we know what we can do. We saw what he can do, and I always made the argument from the beginning in spring training that before Severino was down, that maybe put him in the bullpen. Like, you can't get rid of this guy because this guy's a star. He's a veteran. He's great at what he does. You have to keep him. So now, obviously seeing the success he's had at spring training, I think he could still carry that on throughout the season if we do come back. I think it's a good decision to keep him in the number 3 spot. And I really hope that, in the future, the Yankees do keep him around because he's a star.
Shout out to our boy Jeff Prescott watching the live feed. We appreciate that very much, sir. JJ, you were saying?
No, I was just agreeing with what you were saying about J Happ.
Yeah. I'm excited for this season. I want it to happen. I just don't want to be in the stands when it happens. I don't, I love Yankee Stadium. I love going there. I like to get there as often as I can. But I'm at the point where, I don't know when life is going to be normal again, where I'm not going to be sketched out to touch people. You know what I mean? We don't know. We just don't know. It's nice that we're able to communicate like this, and if they do play in the stands and the games are in Arizona and Florida, I'm not going to love it, but I'm certainly going to be watching it.
Yeah,
no doubt about it. So
I would say this: I like wins no matter how they come.
Yeah.
Wins are good. Wins,
fair point.
Right? I mean, wins have a way of making everything okay.
Yeah.
That certainly is for sure. Make sure you check us out at clovercrestmedia.com/The Roll Call Podcast. We're also on Facebook. Make sure you check out the Roll Call Podcast on Twitter at The Roll Call Show. And you can follow us on Instagram like Amber Sabathia does at The Roll Call Podcast. Well, we don't know when baseball is going to resume, but I know all of us are very excited about that opportunity. And this team is going to be so good. And again, great news all around, whether it's on the injury front or, just in general. We've seen the Yankees obviously are doing a nice job of taking care of their staff that's been laid off with no games. Nothing. You expect nothing less from the Yankees and the Steinbrenners to certainly make sure that they do that. Certainly want to say thank you to, and I've got quite a few friends in the medical field who are out there every day putting their lives on the line. Wash your hands, social distance. Don't be stupid. Stay at home. It sucks. Nobody likes it. JJ's an essential worker. I know he hates that. But I mean, it's the reality that we're living in, so do your part. Let's hopefully get this thing over with soon, get some baseball going, and hoist up another championship trophy, because it has been now 10 long, fruitless years.
Yeah.
And we need ours.
Yeah.
We
it's
need
so
it.
close, and it's like, we need it.
Please, everybody, from the Roll Call Show and the Clovercrest Media Group, just please stay safe and stay home. If it's not for you, do it for your loved ones, or do it for anybody.
Sarah, you have any last words you want to drop on people? Any plea for them to cut the crap?
I mean, you just gotta follow along with what they're saying. I mean, I know it's hard because it's people want to go outside, they're going stir crazy, but if we stay home, then the quicker this curve's going to flatten, and then we could all slowly get back to normal. Just gotta push through. It's tough, but we can do it.
And what's up to Sander, our boy, checking us out? Says, God bless everyone. We appreciate it, Sander. There's another good one. Love you. And we love you guys right back. We appreciate everybody watching. We certainly hope you'll also check out the podcast. We'll have that up in just a little bit. But it's kind of cool to have them graphics up, JJ, huh?
Definitely.
Hey, I love that. All right, well, we appreciate everybody hanging out with us today. I think that's going to do it. At Roll Call J, at the Sarah K, if you want to tweet at those guys, and you should. Again, you see all of our info across the bottom of the screen. We'd love to hear from you. For JJ Vargas and the Sarah K, I am Joe McGuire. That's going to do it for the Roll Call Podcast.